But since you're here now, like I didn't want to close without like a funny memory or some kind of thing that happened with us a long time ago.
Shit.
And it's nothing bad, by the way.
Okay.
But it sounds like it could be bad, but nothing did bad happen.
Oh, I know what you're going to bring up.
You do. Yeah. So, you want me to just go into it, or like
You can or I can. You tell me.
Sure. Okay. I guess I'll start. We'll see where it goes. So, I mean, this is just a story of how just times were different at this point. Like nobody was as concerned. But basically, we were kids at this time. We were like 12 years old or something like that.
Maybe.
You might have been. You're a little younger. Like maybe you were 11, 10 at the time.
I'm 2 years younger than you, I think.
2 years younger. So we could have been like 10 and 12 or 11 and 13. But anyway, we're young, right? And on our street, it's like, I remember you go past the railroad tracks and then you take a little turn on this little side street. And then there was this house. We go past the house into the backyard. And in the backyard, there's a shed. And there was this elderly man selling candy in the back of the shed.
Sounds so bad.
Doesn't it sound bad?
Yeah, look at their faces. It sounds bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, because here's how it started. They were like, hey, do you want to go to the barn? I'm like, the barn? They're like, oh, yeah, it's a candy store. I'm like,
Yeah, well, James didn't know because he moved in.
Yeah.
And we're like, yo, we got to take you to this candy shop, bro. It's right around the corner.
And I'm like, candy
it's
shop.
Legit.
So I'm picturing like, a candy shop.
A candy shop.
Yeah.
Not a shed with an old man selling candy in the back.
And also random other yard sale items.
Oh,
besides
yeah.
candy.
And I think he had a Street Fighter 2 arcade in the
did.
back too. So
What?
yeah.
He did have a Street
And
Fighter 2 arcade.
might have been Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So is
Confirmed.
he still in prison or
He passed away.
passed away,
He passed
yeah.
away.
rest
Rip.
another rest
We all-
in peace?
Yeah, and we
rest in
all
peace,
brought
Bob.
we all brought cards actually to his wife.
Oh really? That's
But yeah,
fucking wholesome again.
wholesome
we were
again.
very wholesome.
Because here's the thing, I think. First of all, nothing weird ever happened. I think he was honestly
Unless you
just.
repressed it.
Unless I repressed, yes. Yeah, well, did we repress something?
No, because I don't know. Nothing ever happened to my siblings or myself. Or it was totally wholesome. I used to, dude. You want to hear the funny stories? I used to take this candy. 'Cause we used to get deals. It was cheap. The dude sold penny candy, like literally, like Swedish fish,
Airheads and cowheads and
Airheads were 10 cents.
cowtails, yeah.
Airheads were 10 cents.
Fun dip.
Blow pops were 10
Oh,
cents.
fun dip.
Fun dips.
That's all the shit you get from like an ice cream man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it
You
basically.
would basically go to like a Sam's Club or whatever and just buy all the shit and then sell it to us. And then I would buy it from him and then sell it in school.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
You're like,
I was hustling.
racket.
I was hustling Airheads. I buy them for 10 cents and sell them for a quarter or
Yeah.
for $1. You know what
I
I'm
guess
saying?
that's the thing about like living in like being a kid in 80s and 90s or whatever was you could go to these places and there wasn't weird shit going on all
Yeah,
the time.
I mean, my
most of the
parents
time.
definitely came with us the first one time or two,
Yeah.
but they're like, oh no, these people are normal. This is totally.
No, I mean, I
normal.
used to
'cause
run
I
around
asked,
town all the time by myself when I was like 8. Like we would just be walking around the neighborhood and stuff,
Yeah, because like back then, it seemed like, well, here's the thing. Here, as I thought, like so back then, parents weren't as concerned about letting their children just walk around and like go explore in the woods or like whatever we're doing, hanging out by the railroad tracks. But I asked my mom
Stealing porn magazines.
whenever well, I mean, I don't remember that, but anyway, like,
I do.
oh, you really? Okay. Because I remember one time I asked my mom, like fairly recently, like maybe like 10 years ago or so, in the grand scheme of things, recent. So I asked her, like, hey, so were you just okay with that? Like us just walking around going to things? She's like, no. So she was worried at that time.
Yeah, right.
But I think your parents went with us one time and
Yeah,
we kind
more
of
than that. I mean, they were like friends with the people.
yeah, like we kind of knew who they were. At first, it was a little weird, but the thing is, I think honestly, he was just he was retired. He didn't really have much to do, and he was just selling candy as like something to do to keep active. And
but why was it called the barn?
the barn, yeah,
because it was literally a barn.
He had the sign right above it. It was the barn,
the barn.
In like I think it was in like these like candy cane letters. Or like,
It definitely sounds really creepy in hindsight, but at the time was completely.
Was he a guy who was like Santa at the end of the year kind of a thing?
No. Nobody sat on his lap.
yeah, but I remember
you
sometimes
remember.
I remember.
I remember sometimes we actually had to like just knock on the door.
Yeah,
for
we
the
would knock
house
on the
from
door and he
co-
would come and open the store for us.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I got $2. Like, that can get you a long way. At
Yeah.
the penny candy store.
Yeah,
you
it
know
was,
what I mean?
yeah.
All I
Yeah,
can
I
say
guess.
is it was a different time. It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
We also had an ice cream shop that we used to walk to that was right down the street, too. That's
remember
now
that.
closed,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You can just go get custard.
Yeah.